Hello, and welcome to the unboxing and game demo of a game called Colts and Versus. It's a game about sharing, Q&V for short. It was developed by a Filipino named Ronald Villaver, a good friend of mine. Let me introduce myself. My name is Jose Antonio Can. You can just call me Jack for short. I'm the CEO of Can Do Consulting. We do organizational development consulting for different organizations. So let me go ahead and go straight into the unboxing. Now, this game has already been punched and sleeved by my obsessive compulsive wife, who I love very much. So in your basic game kit, you get a bunch of tokens. Let me show you what they look like. That's one. You have a deck of blue cards or idea cards. You have a red deck of quotes and a purple deck of verses. Nice thick one. And of course, it comes with the different rules and explanations, which I'll go through right now. So, let me go through the decks. The verses deck, as the term implies, has verses from the Bible. Alright, so different verses from different parts of the Bible. Quotes are quotes from famous people. They may be living, they may be dead. And idea cards are prompts on something that you need to share. So, game setup is very simple. Let's pretend I have two players with me. I have Joseph on my right and Mary on my left. Each person starts with a hand of 7 cards. You have 4 verse cards. So I'll deal 4 for myself. I'll deal 4 for Joseph. And I'll deal 4 for Mary. And 3 quotes cards. So I'll deal 3 for myself. 1, 2, 3 cards for Joseph. And 3 cards for Mary. So you can choose to play if your cards hidden, like a hand, or you can choose to play if your cards open by just laying them down here in front of you. So let me turn them around so that you can see the cards I have in my hand. Alright, so this is my hand. Now, you then choose an active player. Let's pretend that Joseph is the active player. The active player will draw from the idea deck and play it in the middle. So the idea card says, recall a happy moment with your grandparents. So whoever's the active player who drew the idea card will then share a story related to what's printed on the card. So let's pretend that Joseph's story talks about how he's happy that while growing up, he had a very close relationship with his grandparents and they were able to mentor him and guide him and nurture him. Had a very big impact in the way he was brought up, which led to where he is today, the kind of person he is today. But on the other hand, because of that, he also didn't spend a lot of time bonding with his parents. So even though he's happy, he's close to his grandparents, he feels a little bit depressed or sad or a little bit of regret that he didn't bond so much with his parents. That's his story. So Mary and myself will now look through our cards and look for at least one, but potentially more, cards that we can use to respond to Joseph's story and, share some insights or share some wisdom or uplift him or affirm him, whatever the case may be. In my case, I'll choose one card. I'll choose this one. I'll put it here in the middle. From Epictetus. And it reads, the key is to keep company only with people who uplift you, whose presence calls forth your best. So I'll choose that card, play it in the middle, and I'll then tell Joseph, Joseph, this smart Greek guy named Epictetus, had this quote, you should hang out with the people who bring out the best in you. And I would then tell Joseph that, even though you may not have had as much of a chance to bond with your parents growing up, the mere fact that you had such great mentors in your grandparents is a good thing. Because, in life, it's really the positive role models we hang out with that have a very big influence on the kind of person that we eventually become. And, let's assume that Joseph is a very upstanding, responsible citizen of the world. He's very blessed to have had that opportunity. So that would be the card I would share to Joseph. If I wanted to, I could play more cards. But in this example, I'll just choose one. But let's assume that Mary can't find any cards in her hand that would be appropriate as a response to Joseph. She can then discard as many cards as you want. So she can discard 3 of the verse cards and maybe 2 of her quotes cards. She'll then draw new cards. So she'll draw 3 new verses and 2 new quotes. And then hopefully from there, she can choose at least one card she can play in the middle to respond to Joseph. If not, she'll just keep on discarding and drawing new cards until she finds something she can use to respond or, give some insight to Joseph's story. So after Mary and myself have had a chance to play at least one card and share our insights and share our thoughts, Joseph will then choose the player who he felt touched him the most or said the most insightful thing or, said something very thought-provoking. There's no hard and fast rules on it. It's really who he feels did the best. And he'll give that person one of the heart tokens. So let's say it's me. He'll give me a heart token to symbolize that I said something that kind of struck him. So, yay, I got a heart. And then the card I played will get discarded to the middle. And then I'll draw a new card to replenish my hand. And same thing with Mary. Whatever cards she played, she would then draw new ones to replenish. And then the turn would move to the next active player, namely myself. So I would then draw another idea card. In this case, it's recall the time you needed help from someone and someone heard your call. I would then share a story related to that topic. And again, Joseph and Mary would play cards from their hand to respond and give me insight or to affirm or to make me feel better. Then I would choose one of them and give them a heart token and so on and so forth. And the game will continue until someone breaks down onto uncontrollable sobs or someone breaks out into laughter or someone suddenly says, "Eureka! I found the meaning of life!" and goes out and cures cancer or something like that. Just keep on going until everyone's kind of happy and you wind down the game and then you go home with all this positive energy flowing through you. So that's the game in a nutshell. Now, how do I use it? So in organizational development work, it's really about having the ability to draw out insights from people. Asking questions, getting them to respond, drawing things out, coaching them, helping them reach the answer that best suits the situation. So this is a very useful tool to help achieve that goal, to help people to share, to help people to be comfortable to the idea of sharing. And most importantly, to respond to one another. Someone to share, someone to give an insight as a response, and to kind of build on that. So that's how I use it in work. You can also use this for church communities. So if you want to build relationships based on the Bible, you can have sharing exercises where people would share more about, more from verses from the Bible. For families who want to build closer relationships or closer bonds, this is a good opportunity to share. And, the rules are flexible. If you're doing this in a professional organization and you want to keep it non-denominational, you can choose to not use verses and just use quotes. If you're in a church community and you want to focus more on the Bible, you can just use verses and not use quotes. So it's up to you how you want to kind of modify it. There are no hard and fast rules or restrictions on how you can play with the decks. So in a nutshell, that's the game and how it's used and how it can really help facilitate the process of sharing, especially if you have people in the room or in the group who are not very comfortable with sharing. I mean, it's sometimes very scary, or it can help trigger, it sometimes triggers defensive mechanisms. So putting a structure, giving people a structure on how they can share and how they can respond can help break the ice and get people more used to the concept. And that's why I like using the game. It's really just about that, getting people to share more about themselves. So I really encourage you to go out there, quotes and verses, try it, give it a try, And more importantly, please give us feedback on the games that you've played, how it helped make a difference, how it touched people's lives. We'd love to hear from you. So if you want, you can reach us at this email address. We really love to hear from you and get feedback from you. So until then, farewell.